Last time we talked about an Atlantic, our subject was a great idea with a disappointing outcome. The time before that, it was an outright success, full of potential. So this time, we'll just point and laugh at an Atlantic which truly missed the mark. Let's set the scene. Boxtel, the Netherlands, 1899. A grizzled inspector witnesses a mail train departing for the port of Vlissingen. The two absolutely minuscule locomotives in charge are struggling out of the station. They fill the air with black smoke as both of their firemen are shoveling like they're being paid by the devil himself. At last, with the train nearly completely out of the station, the engines grip the wet rails and they pound away towards the sea. The inspector sighs, wondering what has become of the mighty Staatsspoorwegen. But he has been assured by his bosses. The new engines will come, and they will restore glory to the SS. Then the inspector was clapped at and he met Albert Einstein. The SS found even their largest express machine, the Series 801 to 935, struggling with the heavy mail and boat trains. So, in 1899, they drafted up a new design to squeeze every ounce of performance they could out of a Series 801. The result was the 995. Well, this is the 997, but they were all delivered around the same time in 1900 by Bear Peacock, so it really doesn't matter. Immediately evident upon just glancing at the thing is that the firebox makes up about almost half of the boiler. Indeed, 995's heating surface was nothing to scoff at. This giant firebox was so heavy that the axle load exceeded 15 tons, which the SS simply could not afford to foul the weight limits. So a Cartazzi wheel set was fitted below the cab, in doing so creating the very first Dutch Atlantic. But they were pioneers in other ways. They had bogie tenders, unusual indeed for Dutch practice, and they were the first Dutch locos to be built with slide valves. But it was not their looks nor their strength which stood out. Nigh immediately, and I do mean within the year they were introduced, the ride quality proved an immediate problem. Inspections reported that the Boxtel-Vlissingen line had been wrecked. The spikes fastening the rails to the sleepers were worryingly S-shaped, and further research into the problem showed that it was a matter of days for the rails to be damaged in the very same way, should the spikes be replaced. So SS sought to solve the problem any way they could. And I do mean any way they could. They tried extending the loco and tender connection. They tried shortening the loco and tender connection. They tried new bogies. They tried placing the bogie further forward. They tried giving the bogie stiffer springs. When none of that worked, the SS tried lowering the boiler pressure from 176 psi to 153. This worsened performance, and the maximum speed of the locos dipped from 90 to 80 km an hour. They tried rebalancing the driving wheels, but this made the loco very light on its feet. Trouble starting a heavy train? Try having trouble maintaining 80 km an hour, because your engine is being pushed along as its wheels decide that grip simply is not an option right now. Mind you, all of these tests and alterations were executed within 9 years of the Atlantics being introduced. Naturally, the SS felt more than a bit defeated, but they tried to make the best of a bad situation. In 1912, the class were fitted with superheaters, cutting coal consumption by 25%. The final major addition to the class by the SS was the 1918 fitting of the Knorr feedwater heater, though this was on the cusp of the nationalisation of the Dutch railway system anyway. The SS were really counting on the Series 995 being a success. In fact, the running numbers originally counted down from 999, accounting for further members of the class beyond number 995, not resulting in duplicate numbers. When the Staatsspoorwegen formally amalgamated into the Nederlandse Spoorwegen in 1921, NS was reinvigorated to try their hand at making the Series 995, now the NS Class 2000, a better locomotive. Their efforts amounted to trials with 2004, hitherto 998, running with a smaller rigid frame tender, and 2005, previously 999, no that one, running with an NS 3700 bogie in 1924. Predictably, these efforts did not improve matters. So NS said, you know what, fine, if you don't want to cooperate, you're going to spend 10 minutes on the naughty step. And they banished that class to Eindhoven. The horror. An NS class being concentrated at Eindhoven Depot can only mean one thing. Those engines are now a dedicated freight class. Indeed, the 2000s would spend their last years on local coal trains to Utrecht. Of the 5 built, 1 or 2 2000s would be withdrawn every year starting in 1930. However, 2005 could still be found around the NS network, as late as 1952. When she was withdrawn from running stock, she was rebuilt into a piece of measuring equipment known as a resistor wagon. The way this works is basically via reversing the steam circuit and replacing steam with air. Instead of air starting in the boiler going through the cylinders and out the chimney works as a vacuum. It sucks the outside air in and makes it pass through the cylinders and then ejects it through a pipe along the side of the boiler, which is now a reservoir. By changing the cutoff of the cylinders, you can create artificial drag, simulating the weight of a longer train. Pair it up with the NS dynamometer car, and you can get really useful performance data of the locomotive hauling the test train. Now renumbered to 169002, the NS Atlantic proved so useful that she was regularly used right up into the Second World War, which she escaped unscathed. Once again used to test the new post-war NS locos, she was set aside in 1952, and was finally cut up in 1955. As far as Atlantics go, with the benefit of hindsight, it can be established that success is more often than not determined by how innovative an Atlantic design can be in the long run. The Great Northern Railway's C1 ushered in basically all the new ideas which would eventually amalgamate into the L&YR A4, the ultimate British East Coast Express loco. The L&Y Class 8 was the most competent express engine that company ever had, and would not be surpassed until the Steyr Class 5 came along some 35 years later. And then there's the NS 2000. They were never truly improved beyond the superheating, they never saw any development, and the longest lasting member of the class would only be hauled around by other locos like a piece of ordinary rolling stock. I think it would not be a big stretch to call these locos a failure. Let me know if there's any other general type of locomotive you want me to cover for another one of these design trilogies. I actually find them a bit easier to make, as once I know what my parameters are, I can figure out which 3 locos I wish to cover pretty quickly. Next video is not going to be a train video, so this is probably the last video of mine quite a few people will watch this year. In which case, happy holidays and here's to the next year. And I hope to see you next time as always. Cheerio!